course we did.
Well, good morning, everybody. How are you today? Good to see you. Nice, bright, sunny day. So before I ask Tony to begin his presentation, let's start with the January home sales and price report. So CAR reports that statewide existing single-family home sales totaled 256,160 units in January on a seasonally adjusted annualized rate up 14.4% from 224,000 in December and up 5.9% from 241,920 units in January of 2023. California's statewide median home price decreased 3.8% from December's $819,740 to $788,940 in January. But it registered a 5% year-over-year gain, the seventh straight month of annual price gains. And in year-to-date, statewide home sales were down 5.9%. Now, it's possible they're anticipating that we may see fewer listings come on because interest rates have increased, unfortunately. And in CAR's statewide sale price to list price ratio was 98.9% in January of 2023 and 96.5% in January 2022. So that's just saying if we asked for $100,000, we sold it for $98,900, so very close to the asking price. And then just for Orange County specifically, this is single family homes in Orange County, January 2024. It was 1,320,000 versus December, which was 1,300,000. So we saw an increase in the price from December to January. However, statewide, the median sales price went down surprisingly. And then also in Los Angeles County, the median price went down from $853,000 to $833,000. Orange County, we don't see any type of pressure in regards to prices going down. $20,000 in 1 month for the median price for a single family home. And then I keep hearing from agents in the office. Jay, for example, had 2 listings recently. He had 20 offers on one, 25 on another. Yeah, the weakest offer was 20% down. Most were 40 to 50% down, and many were all cash. So the demand seems to be there. Very interesting to see what's going on. So good opportunity for sellers if they wish to take advantage of selling in a market like this. Any questions about that? If anybody would like to report, I can send you the entire report. It's rather lengthy, but you would like that, Cameron? I will send that to you. We'll send it out to the office. So with that said, let's see, is Sarah with us today? Nope. Okay. Let me introduce Tony Bried. Tony is a specialist with Orange County Realtors. So there's a couple things I asked him to talk about, one of which was not sent out in the email. So I asked him to talk about reciprocal access because we have a number of people who are interested in regards to listing a property outside the CRMLS area. So if you would start with that first, Tony.
Sure, I can do that.
Great.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Love the rain weather, right? Great for the plants. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Anthony. I work at Orange County Realtors. Been there now for a little over 21 years. Started off in the MLS department, guaranteed. I'll speak to everybody regarding rules, regulations, violations, all that fun stuff. What I'm involved with is our outreach program. So Carlos and Richard have me out here to your office and giving hybrid training at least once a month on all your tools. So what we're going to touch on real quickly, reciprocal. A lot of you might get listings in other areas, not sure if agents in those areas are finding those homes, right? I know I get at least 10 or 15 calls a day. Oh, I've got a property in Riverside or Temecula or San Diego. Will my listing be seen by those agents? Now, about 20 years ago, we used to have separate MLS systems like SoCal MLS, before it was known as CRMLS, only dealt with Orange County. And then you had to pay a fee for your listing to be seen in Riverside or join their MLS and things like that. Well, today with CRMLS, they like to be what they call a nationwide, or in our case, a statewide MLS, even though we don't have every property in California because not every county reciprocates or data shares. So but they do have a lot of information. Now, where do you find this information? So maybe you've got a listing in San Francisco, maybe you got a listing in Fresno or Sacramento, and you were wondering, what do I need to do in order to get my listing seen by those agents? Do I have to join an MLS? Do I have to, or can I just input it into the MLS system? Well, what we're going to do here is we're just going to first go to crmls.org. From here, we're going to find their area map coverage. Now, the way you're going to find that is over here next to where it says MLS dashboard. Off to the right is a magnifying glass. If you click on the magnifying glass, you get a little search bar.
Can you minimize the pictures on the side of your screen, Tony?
Mine is, I think it's the computer here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. So let's just close out of that. So here at the main website.
All right, is there a way to turn off? Like, at least-
Yes, there is.
Sorry, it's like a weird.
No.
Sorry about that, Carlos. All right, so here at the main website, what you're going to do is you're going to move your mouse over to the far right corner to this little magnifying glass. When I click on the magnifying glass, I can search for anything about MLS. What I'm going to do here is just simply type in area map coverage. Now, when I press enter on my keyboard, hopefully, what should come up are some search results, one of which is the coverage areas by AOR system. What I can now do is click on read more. When I do that, what should happen is a map will open up and it will tell us the coverage by areas. So here you've got more than 110,000 full access to all CRMLS listings, products, and training. That's in dark blue. The data share, more than 45,000 listings are directly shared with other MLS systems. That's in a lighter blue. And on down the list. Reciprocal access, and of course, additional areas. Yellow just means we do not data share. They do not data share with us. We do not see their listings. So you're probably going to have to join their MLS system. And that's by zip code. But if you look here on the map, we've got basically most of Southern California, about mid-central, and of course, Northern California. We've got all these different fun areas here like Bay East, Santa Clara, San Mateo. We've got LA County, Riverside County, Ventura, San Diego County. Now, we don't have all of San Diego just yet, but a majority of it, which is great. What's in white currently does not data share with anyone and will require that you join their MLS system. So if you have a listing somewhere out between, what is this? Of course, it's so tiny, you can't read it. Ventura and what is that? Pismo. If you've got a listing between Pismo and Ventura, you're probably going to need to join their MLS system. In this case, based on San Francisco, where it's located around the Bay East area, they do belong to the Bay East MLS. If you have a San Francisco listing, it should be fine. So that means if we input a listing here in Orange County, their agents in all these areas here will actually see your listing. If they list a property in their MLS, we will see their listings here. So you don't have to really do anything outside the norm. And what's nice about this is that you as an agent can represent clients up here in these other counties. So you can buy, sell, whatever. Why? Because you have a California state license. It's not an Orange County license, it's a California license. Anybody like this?
I do.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Are there any questions on this?
Roya, do you have any questions?
I don't know if
Thank
your
you
speakers
so
on.
much. Yes, I do have a question. So just by, if I want to access the Bay East, San Francisco, just click on it. How should I go to a next step to?
All you need to do is just run a regular search. So if you're in the MLS system, all you should need to do is just run a regular search for that county. So maybe, you can look at county, or if there's a particular city, like San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
Show me their active properties. And currently there are 113 active properties in San Francisco. When you click on it, there are those listings. Their own MLS, unique MLS numbers. I love it. Condo detached, all active. 518,000, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. 550 square feet. Woohoo!
Thank you.
Right?
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Now, does this mean that we have, now, do we have access to other areas? Yes. Back under your links tab, under the links tab here, if you scroll down and under shared systems, data share systems, this does give you access to the, or tell you what MLS systems do data share. But if you scroll down a little bit further, you also have access to Hawaii's MLS, Miami's, and Omni, which I think is Mexico now, and Georgia. So here you've got access to other states. Now, just because you have access to their data does not mean that you have rights into their MLS to list a property data or do auto emails. That requires you to belong specifically to their MLS. And that means that you have to be a licensed agent of that state or of that country. But you do have access to other immediate areas. So anybody want to buy in Hawaii? There you go. You can go to Hawaii's MLS, see what's available, reach out to a listing agent, connect with them, get a referral, or maybe out in Miami, because people seem to be moving out to Florida. Or I hear Mexico is kind of nice, so you can actually deal with agents down in Mexico. See. Any questions? Man, you make this easy.
How do you get to this page?
How did I get to this page? So in the MLS system, I just clicked on the links tab. The links tab is right here at the top and your menu choices. Click on the links tab. And then under shared systems. And then reciprocal access to MLSs. And then you go right into your third-party benefits. So those two top areas will give you information. You could access these other MLSs like Bridge MLS as well. If you click on it, you will be able to peruse through their MLS, but you don't need to. Just because everything is data shared. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I saw that, say, San Luis Obispo is in the white area. If we were to enter it, it would show up on the CRMLS.
And that's it. Their
But
agents
they
there.
would not see ours.
Correct.
And so you might see a couple in the areas that are white, but they're only CRMLS
Correct.
members.
Correct. So the question is, hey, if I have a property that's in a white area, if I list it in the MLS, what happens? Very simple. The agents of our MLS will see it only, but their agents out in that other county or other MLS system will not see it, and vice versa. When they list their properties in their MLS, we don't see theirs. So you're pretty much listing that property in two different areas.
But when they're doing a reciprocal agreement on there, sometimes you can get it put on their board.
On their MLS, whatever their fees are or their requirements.
Okay, so that's.
Some MLSs will ask for a letter of good standing, their input form, and a small fee of maybe $50 to $70. And of course, your photos. So now, as for lockbox access, that's a totally different thing, but that can be found on our website, ocrealtors.org, and go under membership, and we should have something there about Supra. Okay. Any questions on reciprocal access?
No, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, Realist Tax. Realist Tax Records is your free member benefit that allows you to look at tax data information on listed and unlisted properties in California. So this is a totally different database system because we can access tax data property on any property in the state of California, whether it's commercial or residential. Now, those of you who are seasoned agents are probably like, well, Realist Tax, what's new about it? You know, why are you talking about it? They have done some updates to it recently. Anybody go into Realist Tax lately? One person, excellent. Two people, awesome. So if you haven't noticed and you haven't been in Realist Tax for a while, they did update their system. So when I click on Realist Tax, you're going to immediately see eventually a dashboard. It immediately greets you, good morning, Anthony, or good morning, Richard, or Carlos, or John. And it's going to give you some quick stats. Now, based on what counties you have selected in Realist, it's going to give you some amazing information about what's going on, not just in the MLS, but what's happening with properties in general. So in this case, in Orange County, for the past 90 days, there have been 1,092 closings, down 26%. There have been properties that have opened escrow, down 17 or 11%. Active listings for sale up 2% to 7,066. We're talking about 6 months worth of inventory. Now, I think this is super off in that case. I don't know where they're getting, how much inventory they got. Of course, days on market, 35 days. And of course, the sales price to list price, 98% is our ratio. Now, granted, this is going back 90 days. So we get some quick statistical data of what's happening. Now, by the way, these closed sales to get your median price. And of course, if we scroll right on down through this market trends, we see the temperature of the market is kind of somewhat balanced, a change in MLS activity, the average sales price. We have to be mindful that we're not only looking at MLS data, but we're also looking at off-market data. So they're combining the two.
Can I mention something?
Yes, sir.
So it showed 6 months absorption rate.
Yes.
That's absolutely wrong. It's 2
I know.
months as of January. So I just want everyone to understand that. Don't use that stat right now, because that is then a buyer's market if there is 6 months or more of inventory.
Exactly.
So that was a strange anomaly there.
Yeah, I don't know how they're figuring out this month of inventory, but that's where I like to use InfoSparks or Fast Stats because that's what's actually happening in the MLS. So I don't know where they're getting this inventory from. Here you've got some insights, industry news pulled from Inman, which is kind of interesting to always watch. Last viewed properties by me, and of course my saved searches. Now, if we need to look up property data, we need to find some information on a property. I know a lot of people go, well, how do I find a property here from this dashboard? Well, we've got 3 ways of doing that. We can either at the top right corner, click on where it says search by address, click in the box, type in the property address here, or come all the way down to the bottom and where it says create a new search, bottom right, click on where it says create a new search here, or even better yet, easier, top left, next to where it says dashboard here to the top left says search. When I click on search here at the top left, I'm now going to be taken to what I normally am used to seeing when it comes to Realist, where I can put in either an address or an owner name or an MLS number, or an APN number to pull up the tax records. That's how you get out of the dashboard. I know that's hanging up a lot of people right now. Anybody felt like they got hung up?
Yes, I did. Would you?
Excellent.
Yeah. Would you please just, Richard, you mentioned we have to go with the 90, we have to go with 6 months, not 90 days. Would you please say that
No,
again?
I was just suggesting that the absorption rate, it said 6 months to absorb the current inventory level. That is inaccurate. It's actually 2 months as of January.
Yeah.
It's an annualized rate. So I didn't want you to say there's 6 months of inventory out there to anybody, because it would be the exact opposite. And if there's 6 months of inventory, it's considered a buyer's market. 2 months, it's considered a seller's market.
Thank
Big
you.
time.
Okay.
Let's see here. On our search, we can, before we type in an address, make sure you have your county selected. In this case, what I can do to change counties or add counties, you'll notice here to the top left, I only have Orange County. But if I want to look in multiple counties, I can just simply click on change county here and select all the counties that I want. So if I want San Francisco data, I can select San Francisco County, any county I wish. Just simply click on all the necessary counties you want to pull data for. Let's see here. San Bernardino and Riverside. If I can find Riverside, there we go. In Los Angeles. Just because, you know, we can just do whatever we need to find things. Wherever you're marketing. make sure you select the county, because if you don't have the county selected, guess what? You type in an address of a city that's in that county, you're not pulling the data because it's not going to find it. Now, by the way, with all these counties selected, and I say apply, if I look at that dashboard again, hopefully, my numbers are going to vastly change. Because I got now multiple counties going on. Now we've got 7 months worth of inventory. I don't know how they figure that. There's only been 719 closed sales and pending sales and active and all this other fun stuff. Because we're pulling it from multiple different counties, different areas have different stats, okay? So be mindful of that. Here, if I just simply type in the address, I'm actually going to pull just the normal property records, but we're going to have some extra added stuff here that was just recently added a few months ago. I love the fact that it will display MLS data here. What's on the MLS versus the tax, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, list price if it's listed, property type, year built, owner information. But now we get this new section here that was added. And that is community insights. We at least get to see some insights about the community right away based on the tax records and where this property is located within that city. So we see here that the median home value in real estate is $958,000. That's the median price, 10 out of 10. We'll talk about that here in a second. The schools, 23 out of 100, not too bad. We're Santa Ana Unified. I know we need to change that because this is in the city of Irvine. Lifestyle, is it family friendly or not? Score is 2. So lower the score, the more desirable it is. Okay. Here are the market trends. First quarter housing price forecasting 962. That's the last 2 years of home appreciation of 16%. So something nice to maybe even talk to a client about. Hey, I bought my home just 2 years ago. Well, good. You've gained hopefully maybe about 16% of your value here in Irvine if you bought 2 years ago. And of course, you're going to have MLS data to hopefully back that up. Now, one interesting fact here is crime. So the risk of crime. Now, I know a lot of people go, oh, well, it's only 22. That means that crime rate, remember, the lower the number, the higher the actual rate is. So, yes, is it 22% safe in Irvine? With 406 or 26 total incidents for the past year that have happened in Irvine. Crime.
Are those tickets?
Don't know.
Yeah.
It can be, anything from, I know, from murder to domestic abuse to anything that the police were involved in arresting somebody and conviction.
So does that indicate it's not safe here?
Yeah. There's a high crime rate in the city of Irvine.
Okay, just like Santa Ana School District is in Irvine.
Yeah. But I mean, I can pull up another property and it'll give me a different score, but what was that?
I know Villa Sienna used to work over there off of Jamboree. They're Santa Ana School District, but they have Irvine now. So it could be.
It could be. But nowadays with crime rate going up, stores, theft, car break-ins, things like that are getting reported. It's probably why we have a higher crime now.
So it must be the area, not the city specific to it, right? Because if it borders Santa Ana.
Yeah,
But
it could be.
It's like the spectrum has something going on every week or so.
Well, like I said, it's for the past year. So if you have a crime spree for the past week, that'd be something to be considered as well.
Yeah.
But here, let's just put in another area. Water, we're doing on the Gill. There you go. So the higher the number, so it's 77% safe with only 228 crimes in the city of Laguna Niguel. This particular property, so you got more crime happening in Irvine than you do in Laguna Niguel, kind of thing. Now, we don't know what types of crimes are happening. Maybe these crimes are a little bit more heinous beyond, petty theft. But those are things that, you you even as agents, when it comes to realtor safety, should be mindful of, right? Don't leave your wallets in your car. Don't leave your cell phones in your car, your computers and stuff. You know, people are breaking in your cars very easy, you know? But I don't know if catalytic converters theft has dropped or not. I don't hear it as much in the news anymore as I did last year. Anybody hear about all that?
Oh, yeah.
You
We
know,
had
I don't
somebody
know.
here.
It
It
happened
happened to
here?
them a year ago in the parking lot.
See, it's not safe in Irvine. I don't feel safe at all. I gotta carry my taser with me. So, but those are things that you can now see. 85% family friendly, median sales price, 1,312,000 median sales price, Capital Unified School District, so on and so forth. So some really nice property details. The market trends, the charts have been updated, easier to read. So when you go to print this information out, it's easier. You don't have the old analog bar graphs anymore. So if I go to the market trends, we get to see the market trends of this city or of this area. We see here, this is as of January of 2024. I can go back maybe to November of 2023 and see what those market trends were, which is kind of nice. Let's go back here, January. So average sales price, average list price, price per square foot, number of sales. Our neighbors, we can look at their immediate comparables. And of course, the neighborhood profile. I love this one. This one's really great to get to know your population. So here I'm going to go back, instead of Laguna Niguel, I'm going to go back to that Waldorf address. We're going to take a look at what's happening in the city of Irvine / Santa Ana with the neighborhood profile. So we see here our estimated population pulled from the last census, 34,640. Population growth since 2010 has been 14.4%. The density is 5,013. Average age 30 years of age. Number of households 14,000. Two people per household. Households with children more than 3,000, almost 4,000 households with kids.
So is this for the city?
This is for the city.
Okay.
Here, the age. We see a large population between 20 to 24-year-olds that live here in Irvine, which is pretty amazing. Male to female ratio, 51% female, 49% male. So guys who are single, there you go. Your dating pool is opened up a little bit. Single, there you go. 54% are single, 30% are married, 8% are divorced, 4% are separated, and of course, 3% are widowed. Median sales price, annual turnover ratio in the city is 34%. Now, this is one I really like. Those of you who are doing marketing, we all kind of get this mentality of who do we market? Well, look at our market. If our job is just to try to get people to sell their homes for sale, look at how many people actually own in the city of Irvine, 26%, versus 65% in Irvine rent.
Wow. So we're thinking maybe this is a smaller area of Irvine and not Irvine as a whole. There was a population.
38,006, and 110,000 in Irvine.
Oh, okay, so
And I know
then
this
it's a
is-
smaller area of Irvine in and
so
around this
particular
property?
area we're looking at, it is in the Santa Ana School District. And so I
Okay.
think it's that much smaller area of Irvine because a lot of people do rent there. The apartment complex I was talking about was
Okay.
1,500 units in like a block. small
Okay,
block.
well, that's
So
even better.
I
And that
think
would
you're
make sense
drilling down
also
more.
with the number of renters too. It's
Yeah.
surprising that it would be that high.
Maybe
So
it's
if
like
you're,
a
if you're marketing in that
radius.
neighborhood, then your target market is gonna be the renters, not the owners. Per
Also
se.
explains the 30-year-old average age, because I think in Irvine, it's gotta be higher than that, but in that particular area of Irvine. it would
Well,
make
even the
sense that
median
there's a lot of
price is
young
like
renters
7
there.
something on there.
What's that?
The median price is like 7 something on there. which
Okay,
is
so
not-
that means that it's probably because of the condos.
Yeah. I think it's
Okay, so I'm
the lower
wrong.
ones.
So it just makes me wonder how we know exactly what it's pulling in.
Well, let's see.
I wonder if it's like.
I think when I looked at the neighbors,
Maybe a radius around.
Yeah,
the
but what
property.
is it? Right, what is that criteria?
so it's probably, yeah. Good
I
question.
wonder if you can regulate it to a specific product type.
Zoom out.
Let's see. If I look at the comparable area, it'll actually probably pull up in and around the subject. So here it's pulling up about 10 properties, but it looks like they're pretty far where they're pulling those 10. So what is that? The 261 all the way down to the 73. So it's not all of Irvine, but
A good portion.
a good portion.
Yeah, but look at the median price changed here on the right. Yeah, a million.
Oh, because of the comps, where it pulled the
Yeah.
comps from.
Compared to the other list where it was like 750 or 730 or whatever. it was.
That's something I can probably find out for y'all, to find out how this area map for the neighborhood comes up. I just thought it was very interesting about just knowing that in and around this home, there are more renters than
Yeah.
ownership.
Yeah.
So if I was marketing, I'd probably gear my target market to the renters, maybe even do things like what's the benefits of home ownership kind of thing, or even maybe go on the warpath and try to talk to builders to build up affordable housing so that renters can actually buy in that area. And of course you got, what is it? Fair market rents, studio, up to 4-bedroom at 3,500. Pretty interesting because of that huge demographic. You got blue collar versus white collar. Household incomes. Now, this is always important for us because who's our target market? Well, a majority of people earn less than $10,000 a year for the household income versus 150 to 200,000. Now, I know if we're looking at city stats, what is it? 1.4 million roughly for Irvine as a median sales price.
132.
Oh,
132.
for all of Orange County.
No, that was, I'm sorry, Orange County, yes.
Okay, so even at 1.3 million, $200,000, I don't know how anybody can
Not gonna
afford
do
it,
it.
right? Because if you can only, back in the day, lenders used to say you can only lend 3 times greater than your annual income. Well, if your annual income is $200,000 a year, you can only really comfortably afford a $600,000 house.
It takes about 233,000 a year.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we have an affordability issue here. And of course, we've got a huge demographic that's earning less than 10,000 a year. Now here you've got commute, if you care about that, knowing your neighborhoods, education levels. I like this as well because you get to see local businesses in and around the subject property. So this subject property, here are the following businesses, their addresses, phone numbers, how far they are from the subject property, and of course, what they do. So in this case, starting with eating and dining, we've got a chain restaurant, sandwiches and subs, eating places, Italian, nightclubs, cafe, so on and so forth, all within a quarter mile of the subject. So great for marketing the neighborhood, shopping as well. The different shops, their addresses, phone numbers, how far they are from the subject property, and of course, what they sell. So health food, juices, supermarkets. I love the fact that we've got general merchandise as the very last one, but everything else is either vitamins or food. Health foods. So health food nuts all within a half mile. And that's all your neighborhood profile. And again, all this is able to be printed. I think this would enhance any listing or even buying presentation that you're sitting down with somebody if they're thinking about buying in that neighborhood to talk about. I would probably be very mindful or very careful when it comes to talking about crime, because really, I think in your purchase agreement, they need to make sure that they do the proper research. But I would probably try to exclude out that number personally. But that's pretty much all the updates to Realist. Are there any questions on this?
Yes, can you pull up any underlying documents associated with the history of title, deeds of trust? Trust deeds.
So any of the title doc,
It's been recorded.
Grant deeds.
By the way, they even give you now rental estimates based on the neighborhood now, but let's see here. Last market, there's the document number.
So if you open that,
I think it'll charge me $5 to open this document.
okay, don't want to do that.
So, but you can get this
Mhm.
if you want to. You don't have to necessarily, I don't know if title charges you all.
No, actually, if you have a property profile account, you can pull up the underlying documents.
Okay.
Active links when using property profile.
All right.
Just curious, since you're in here, if you could do that.
Yeah, I can't, unfortunately.
Answers that question.
But I mean, they do have, here's the trust, so you could spend the $5 and get the trust documents that were recorded on title from Realist Tax. They used to give you the mortgage documents too.
Mhm.
But again, I don't know.
That's all available in property profile,
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah.
That's been a free service we can use.
and then what's also another cool thing here? The assessor's map. You actually have access to the assessor's map, and what's neat about this is that it gives you, hopefully, the street boundaries of the track. And a lot of times, this will sometimes have the floor plans, but you at least get to see the street boundaries. So if you're new to marketing this neighborhood, you at least know your street boundaries of the neighborhood that you can now outline when you do your map search to pull up property data, or you can go into Realist, create a map search, pull up tax records, and now have an email list or a mailing list of people that you can get information from your title.
Could you show us an example of that?
Sure. So to run a map search, what I'm going to do here is that instead of just a my search, I'm just going to do a quick search. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to go to my search. And from here, when I go to my search, this will now allow me to draw on the map. So now what I can do is I can use the drawing tool, like a polygon, find my starting street, and then just draw around that street.
So following the boundaries that we saw in the last.
And in the last assessor's map, I can now
Right.
do my own search,
Uh-huh.
outline, and now what I can do is I can pull up all the tax records, and I'll just redo this again to a wider range.
There's a maximum, right?
Maximum of up to 1,000 properties.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. And search. And there we go. Here are all the properties. Some are listed, some are not listed, some have closed escrow. How do I know what's not listed? I look for these little flags. Red indicates sold. I think black or purple is expired. And green, if there's any green, green would be active. But if I wanted to sort this list, what I could do is come over to this column, click on it, and I can make the sold first, exclude out what I don't want, or make the unlisted, there's the active. But if I click on it again, I've got now the not listed properties. I can select those, and then I can come over down below where it says mail labels, click on that and create my mailing label list. And I can create up to 2,000, or I'm sorry, 5,000 mailing label lists each and every month at no cost.
Or you can export a CSV file.
Or export it as a CSV file. And I think
It's on the previous.
there's yeah, there's an export down below. So I could cancel that and then instead, whoops, come down below and export, and then export that data into an Excel spreadsheet and then import it into my CRM. So we have a lot of really cool things that we can do. So now with the assessor's map from the one property that I know about in that neighborhood, I can now outline the entire track and then create my strategy to market to that neighborhood. Yes,
Would you mind going back to the neighborhood profile tab real quick?
sure. No, it's-
So I looked it up. So that's not for a particular address right there, it's for
Oh,
county. But for a particular address, according to this, the demographic data, which is everything above the schools,
mhm.
when you pull it up, that's all from census tracts, and there's 8 census tracts in Irvine, for example. So that would make sense why the population was like 30.
Oh, because it's one of the tracks.
Census tracts.
So, yeah, under neighborhood profile, the first third or half of the page is all gonna be based on census tracts, and then schools and businesses near the bottom, it says that's on like a radius search, like 1 mile, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's why you get this little distance here,
Yeah,
closest to the subject property that we're looking at.
yeah, so for schools and businesses, that's within a mile, but for all the demographic info, that's within the census tract.
Mhm. And I like the fact that with the schools, we've got private. I love the education level. This would also, or could also show me non-private schools. I can look at public school information. What else? I thought there was something else in here that, oh, suggested rent. I think I saw that earlier.
You did.
Oh,
detail.
property details. Under the property details, yeah, there is I love the cell score. The cell score actually tracks what's going on in the neighborhood, and of course, it does data collect. So a lot of times you'll see a number here and their likelihood to want to list. So unless they just recently bought the property, you're probably looking at, another little thing to check out incentive. But there you go, estimated value
For rents.
for rent, 5,400 per month. A little crazy. Now, I probably obviously do a search in the MLS, do a CMA for my rentals to see if that holds up, but at least you kind of know the mark if you're an investor. Which again, for this condo, what is it, a 2-bedroom? 2-bedroom, 2-bath. 5,400 a month, that's crazy. I don't think I collect that much for rent.
What's under hazards and risks?
Hazards and risk, would be, I think that's their natural hazard. Their fire, earthquake. They do have a flood map. The flood map, I think you used to have to pay for, but I think they now offer it for free. I don't know how often this gets updated, but at least you get to see if the property falls in a flood zone at least.
Shows it's out.
It shows that it's out, which is good for now. You never know now with all the extra rain. But this is as of 2024, February 20th. So
How about high or very high fire zones? Does it
that
show
would be
that
under
now?
your hazards and risks,
It
which
does show that.
it would.
You have to pay for it though.
You have to pay for it right now, but it's a service you could add. So just to download the crime or wildfire risk, just to look at the sample of what that report would look like. So earthquake risk 40%, not too bad. Crime, very low, 5.2. Tornado, I love that. Tornado, very high, moderate risk for straight line wind, hurricane, high risk,
High risk for tornadoes.
I guess. Well, I mean, it's not for this particular, this is for a
This is an example
seashell.
right
Yeah,
there.
it's an example. But at least you get to see that kind of thing. Wildfires at low or high risk, distance from the fire station, which is pretty good. Funny enough, they just actually demoed a fire station like a half a mile from my house. So they gutted it and got rid of it. Now the next closest one is 4 miles away. So I love that. Yep, Mission Viejo. All right, but that's what you could do. So it may be well worth having something like this. I don't know what your NHD reports now include, but I think, didn't I see something that NHD now needs to include wildfire risk?
Yeah, low, high, or very high. So
Yeah.
it will designate that, but of course, until you have a report, you don't know. You can, there supposedly is a viewer that's available now, but I don't know if anybody can rely on it for accuracy.
And look, 99 cents. It was well worth $1. Try it out. Let's send a cup of coffee. All right, any other
Any
questions?
questions? No?
No,
All right.
thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, everybody. Any questions about anything today?
No,
No.
I'm trying to get the camera back at you.
Okay. There it
There
is.
you go.
It's still following you, I think, right?
Oh, there you go.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Mhm.